It is I, Hexen. What can I do you for? The cleric finally approaches the last part of Hexen itself, where the Hexen meet and forge a coven of Hexers. You wouldn't want to disappoint the Hexers, right?
Are you strong enough to face your own masters?
Yes, it's called courage. Otherwise, they would not have agreed to this quest in the first place. I mean, or, you know, it's also a game. How will we deal with these nasties today? Well, one good ghost deserves another ghost. If I need it. Assuming they ever hit me. Okay, one of them did hit me. So they might get ghosted. Don't tell them about what I said. They've been shadow banned.
Banned to the Shadow Realm? With my ghostly prowess. Yes!
In these graves, we honor the many characters who have been here before and died in their place. Actually, I've heard of games that do that, where it's like, oh, here lies other player's character. You know, for roguelikes, it's like, okay. Some continuity there, a little bit. Although it makes less sense in roguelike, because their graves could be literally anywhere, right? So I don't understand how any of that happens. Some Castlevania logic, maybe it's like, oh yes, it's an ever-changing dungeon. Why? We don't know. We wanted to maintain some continuity, because reasons. Yes. In this secret place of secrets. Which means I still have a bunch of ghost guys to deal with. In this secret place of secrets. The cleric's version is mages and a bunch of two-headed guys. And some brown circles. I mean, a lot more two-headed guys than there originally are in the fighter zone. The cleric zone has even more, because it knows how much annoying it is. You think the mage would have to face off with mages, but the mage gets some more interesting choices of enemies. For sure. Well, I get a huge bunch of mana into my crusher zone. Someone posted something about a Duke Nukem 3D, like, Redux mod. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And, yeah, it's fun. I don't really need it. Or more importantly, it doesn't really have episode 4 in it, but also it's like, it's basically a Redux mod. I'm like, okay, this is not bad. Basically, I'm saying, you put good effort in. I just don't know if I'm covering it. But I do have a good list of Duke Nukem 3D stuff I can try out for you. Where would I even begin with that? That's a fine question. The good news is there's a lot of Duke Nukem 3D mods. The bad news is a lot of them are not covered. It's not like with Doom, where most Doom mods are pretty much covered for the most part by at least a handful of people on the internet. But except for some few dehacked ones, I think. But this is not the case with Duke Nukem. With the case of Blood, it's got a cult following, so there's at least also maybe a smaller handful of people covering that stuff. But with Duke Nukem 3D custom content, I don't really see a lot of it being covered from what I can tell. And that kind of needs to change. Same with, well, it would happen with Heretic if there was actually more Heretic. And Hexen. Although, maybe not. Maybe not. Certainly with Shadow Warrior. Yeah, that's another, like, blind spot I see. Like, I don't know much Shadow Warrior custom content, and I feel like that is something we can tap into, for sure. To say nothing of Iron Fury custom content, because I thought it would have happened already, but when I see a mod linked to, like, Game Banana or something, I'm like, this isn't a place where you make levels. This is a place where you put in random JPEGs of things we think are funny. Kind of like how the Steam Workshop is for the most part. It's not as if you shouldn't be doing those things. It's just I was looking for something a bit more, epic, I guess? In the most literal sense. Epic pig detected. It even has pig fur. Do you know that pigs don't have sweat glands? That's why they roll in mud. With my pig sound going with my... Hey, Raiden. Squeeze my hog, Raiden. Okay. You want to squeeze my hog so we can get to the New York Air Center. Get to the outer heaven on the island of Zanzibar. Squeeze my hog, Raiden. Squeeze it. Nonsense. And that was all it. Me wonders if that image there matches the class you're playing as. Me wonders if that even matters. Yeah. Again, underwhelming secret level. Or secret area. Like the fourth one. Well, the fourth one's best. The third secret area is best, I thought. Isn't it? Yeah, that's right. I did say that. Third secret area is best. If I had to vote for what's the best area in the game, I mean, I could say Griffin Chapel, but I think the better answer would be like, probably, I think the Deathwind Chapel is the better answer. Yeah, I can safely say Hub 3 has some of my favorite levels now. At least in Hexen. I can't really say what's my favorite level in the entire universe of levels, because that would be weird to figure out. But, yeah, like, you can figure out your favorite song and album. Like, if you're trying to figure out your favorite song all the time, I believe that's difficult with a capital diff. Makes no diff to me, ghostly congregation. Yeah! Oh yeah! Drink some Kool-Aid to your grave! Isn't that a pleasant time had by all? Reminder, if you want to do the secret level, you have to do it before entering anyone's tomb. Not even going through the portal, just entering the area with said portal. So if you just see like a big hole in the wall when you're about to walk in a tomb, don't do it. It's not like that secret level's too important, but you know, I'm playing for content, and everyone likes those content creators, so I'm exploring their content and making content out of it. Not really. I guess this whole channel is more like a gamer's log. That kind of makes more sense. Yeah, if you view this as like gamer blogging, that's essentially what I'm doing. Like, other Let's Players will do something more in-depth, or provide even more, like, knowledge or walkthrough, or they'll be like a comedy troupe, or like they'll tell their own story within the game, or they'll have their own editing prowess. I've realized I'm more of the after-action report guy, which is kind of what they used to call that concept, but people were trying it before on VHS, so you know. Choose your fate. Test your might. Test your sight. Choose an eyeball. Place it in the socket with the key. There's a key in your eye. Can you get it out? It's a saw puzzle. Hey, there's an idea. Make like... Oh, wait, there probably is a saw game. Never mind. Like, literally. I kind of miss those, like, 95 PC games where it's just like, alright, solve the mystery, or like, or there's certain types of casual games they don't that would probably be the kind they'd make on a phone nowadays, but are not really put on a phone, you know, which is weird. All those casual games having a bit more like integrity. So let me know if you think I should do some more casual. If you're wondering what I mean by casual, I don't mean like it's easy. I mean, it doesn't. What it means is it doesn't require. Yeah, I've discussed with you before. It doesn't require much investment. Rather, you can just play it and not have to worry about a whole lot. So, like, Peggle is what I mean in this category. I don't know if Plants vs. Zombies count, but it sure could feel that way. But not quite. Yeah, I guess a lot of puzzle games could fit that. I'm thinking something called Slingo Quest I tried when I was younger, but that was because early on in the 90s on the internet, it was like Slingo was like a thing. But not like it was gonna last forever. Plus, there was actually people gambling on it. I wasn't doing that. I was just like, oh boy. Yeah. I mean, it was good for the older generations because they get slots and bingo. I feel like that's a deal you could not overlook. But then you have like a Slingo Adventure game, and it's just like, oh, okay. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of on the casual front, so to speak. But I have to really go looking for this stuff. Another one I'm thinking of is from PopCap, this like Bookworm Adventures game. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that as like my alternate counterpart to my Word Rescue playthroughs. Because I can't really find... It's hard for me to find a word game that I feel like fits what I do with my channel, and Word Rescue is rare in that it's a platformer educational game. And you really don't get a lot of those, do ye? Speaking of, I have to remember to do Math Rescue also. That'll happen. I mean, I've already done it before. I can do it again. There's no issue. So yeah, just thinking on the casual front. There's also going to be some games I don't even own yet, which I'm going to purchase for the channel because they're good, or they fit the channel rather, and they're also good. So if you see a game I'm playing and it's available on Steam, chances are you're probably going to want to play it. But you can judge for yourself, I guess. Like what, you say? Well, there's a Donkey Kong Country clone I'm looking into, for one thing. There's some others. I can't tell you everything. Although, it's not because I want to hide it from you, it's because, one, it would be more fun if we just found out. But really, the reason is in case it doesn't actually work out for me. I don't want to make it a just thing and be like, oh, what am I doing next? Oh, shit, he can't do it. Like, this has happened too many times. So I try not to put a deadline on things. That's usually bad. Because that assumes you can guess exactly, pretty much precisely when something's going to be done. This is why a lot of development and production goes through the crunch period. Because businesses think, you know, something creative just has like a schedule. It doesn't. Then again, mine doesn't really either. I mean, in a way it does. It's basically most of the day. Most of a day.
Mayday! Mayday!
Fire shield! Fire shield! Those casual games I would do for my channel are not something that I would do like straight from like an Android or something. I'm not doing that. So you don't have to worry about that. I just mean like stuff you don't really see on like game databases that are just like available on a disk. I feel like there's a huge untapped collection of Windows 95 stuff that needs to be looked at and preserved. Windows 95 to 98 to XP. Because that's pretty much before PC gaming just went through the roof and crazy go nuts. I mean, that probably has a lot to do with the Quake engine and Unreal Engine, actually. Not to mention stuff like Half-Life. So I guess the Source engine by proxy. But yeah. Yeah, there's a lot... Oh yeah, and a lot of Windows 3.1 stuff. Although Windows 3.1 stuff suffers from a different problem. In that I kind of don't like a lot of Windows 3.1 stuff. DOS seems to have the better game selection than 3.1. It's not that there isn't no such thing as a good game on 3.1, but try finding one without it being like Chip's Challenge or something. Which was a port anyway, so boo. Yeah, that's right. It was a port from the fucking Atari Lynx. How's that for madness? Plus, you can play Chip Challenge on DOS anyway, so haha. Poor 3.1. What did it do to deserve this? Not a whole lot. What else am I thinking about? Send in your ideas to me, GamingWolf at gmail.com? Yeah. Assuming Google lasts as long as it's going to. I'm surprised Google has lasted this long without, like, I mean, you can't say they're without controversy. I'm saying, like, Google's really biggest flub up right now is the Stadia. But I'm inclined to think that the left hand of Google doesn't know what the right hand of Google is doing. Google is so large that it could just be any one department pulling strings at any given time. So I can't even really say it's all of Google's fault necessarily. It's just one team had a vision or an idea, and they're like, I will make this idea happen, regardless of how much sense it doesn't make. And that's how you get silly things like Stadia.